in between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Milltek Sport Civic Cup here at Snetterton for the final round. My name is Dan Handover, and joining me in the commentary box, as always, is Mr. Dave Marshall. Dave, how are you doing this fine evening?
Yeah, not doing too bad, Dan. I've got my Lucas here, and it's looking a bit overcast, if I'm honest. It's Snetterton, isn't it?
It is. I mean, to be fair, it's probably the better weather for Snetterton, I think, let's be honest. It definitely could be worse. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait for this round to get underway. I think that Lucozade bottle is going to be, with the amount of energy that we're going to have to go through all the action that we've seen so far and the action that's going to be at Snetterton, it's going to be a very busy one indeed.
I think it is, yeah. Unfortunately, there's some key people in the championship that aren't here tonight with either work commitments or other commitments. It can't be helped. Unfortunately, the likes of Senna Proctor and Scott Bugner as well aren't in tonight. Third and fourth in the championship. So realistically, this really opens up that third podium spot for a lot of people quite a bit further down the grid.
It does indeed, absolutely. So I'm sure we are going to see some changes up and down the order. Yes, look at that on your screen now. Snetterton, the 300 layout, a layout that it's almost similar to the Silverstone layout. Everyone refers to it as the new layout, and yet the Snetterton 300 circuit has been around for probably, Dave, I lost track, maybe at least 10 years, probably.
I'd not a clue, Dan. Not a clue.
You know what? It's probably something like that. It's been around a while. It provides. You've got a bit of everything here. So you've got slower corners, you've got fast corners, you've got. It's such an iconic track in the UK. And I've never commentated on Snetterton before. This is a new experience for me.
Have you not done?
Also, no, I've never done. This is my first ever.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Snetterton 300. Little insight here. Whenever I have a car to test or do any setups or anything like that, actually Snetterton is one of my go-to tracks. I really do think it's one of the tracks, even in the real world, that offers a bit of everything for the driver. You've got the straight lines, off-camber corners, stability on the brakes. It's really a test all round of the car.
Well, this is very true. I've actually driven Snetterton in one of the real tracks. One of the tracks I've driven in real life, Snetterton, is fantastic. And yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's a track that's got a bit of everything, and it's great for testing. Looking at the championship standings, though, look at that. Ryan Elliot, 118 points with Mad Fool Mini Motorsport. And then Dan Zelos, he's got his work cut out for him. But we were saying, actually, weren't we, Dave, that Dan Zelos not had that much practice, and yet he's still on the pace.
Yeah, so looking at the time sheets, he's only chasing about 0.2 of a second off Ryan at the moment. So 0.2 of a second round here really isn't that much, especially when toe can actually play a part round here. But yeah, congratulations to Dan. He's just signed up with Accelerate again this year for the Mini JCW in real life. So he's had a rather busy week apparently. So not much testing on his behalf. But as I say, Senna Proctor, Scott Bugner aren't here tonight with work commitments or other commitments, but also, get well soon. But Konstantin Kletz isn't very well, so we're hoping Konstantin gets fighting fit soon. But as I said, this really leads it where Josh Martin and Matt Luff actually tonight could really try and close in on Senna Proctor in that third place. It's definitely going to be one to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really going to switch up the order, isn't it? It's going to absolutely switch up the order. I'm just so excited. I'm absolutely excited, and I cannot wait to get going. A bit of housekeeping as well before we do jump on. So Paul Bridge says hi all. So Paul, welcome to the stream. Hope everything is okay, and hope you are excited as we are for the racing this evening. Yeah, so we saw, to be fair, it's one of the ones that, sort of looking back on the previous round, obviously we've had, this championship's absolutely flown by. Looking at the previous round we've seen, there's been definitely, I think, firm but fair racing, we should say, Dave. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Obviously, one of the ones that we want to make sure that we end off the, season with a really, really good race. So in terms of, overtaking opportunities, where do you reckon? You can already see a couple of places. You got Turn 2, Montreal, Agostini, places like that. Even Coram to a certain extent. We've seen some touring, some amazing races there, amazing overtakes there in the past. Where do you think the main bulk of the overtaking is going to be for this particular race?
You know what? You're coming down the Senna straight over the start-finish line, as we can see. So out of Murray's, the corner on screen at the moment, straight down Senna straight into the right hand at Riches. If you haven't got the overtake done by turn 1, it's very hard to make an overtake stick into turn 1. But that's not to say, a clever driver will sort of set it up through turn 1, get the run through, and as you said, into Montreal, the second corner into the tight hairpin, really force the driver to either defend or set him up so he goes wide, and then you've got a chance there. There's another hairpin further round, fourth corner Agostini. It's another really nice left-hander. So yeah, there's quite, as I said before when I said about the test, this track does have a bit of everything. So there's got that real slow speed hairpin corner that really allows, a great overtaking opportunity on the brakes. But that's definitely not to rule out the Bentley straight going under the bridge into the difficult left hand. If you go for a move there, you're very brave, and often it doesn't really work out. But without doubt, the tour you get down there, it's definitely an opportunity for an overtake. 100% going down. There's a short answer for you.
Yeah, there we go. To be fair though, again, it's good. It's good having that insight as well, isn't it? Because with some of the overtakes that we have seen, I'm sure that corners that we haven't even dreamed of people overtaking. I would put money on that. There's going to be someone that's tries to go on the outside of going into Coram. Turn 11, second to last corner. I haven't. Someone has a small excursion there. Finney Lines on his outlap. Going through for the first time. What to say as well, Dave? We've got some. Obviously, let's run through the prizes that we've got as well. While the drivers are on their outlap, we've got some prizes on offer for this championship, have we not?
Yes, we do indeed. You've caught us napping there a little bit, if I'm honest.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. So some mega prizes. Obviously, the likes of Riches really, put things together here and really drove it forward. So we've got a nice little cash prize going forward for the Milltek Sport Cup for the top 3 drivers, as well as trophies and caps, as there is on screen. So a nice £100 prize for whoever takes the top step, and then down in 25 increments for the top 3. So yeah, you know what? Who doesn't like a little bit more in the bank account these days?
Well, exactly. What better way to do it than with sim racing? Absolutely cannot complain at all. There, a great shot of that was going through. That was on the midfield of Coram. Great camera angle there. Absolutely love it. All these these static track pans again. You can see how fast the cars are. These cars are surprisingly quick. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. These are about 300 brake horsepower, are they not?
Yeah, about 300 brake horsepower. So they're I believe a proper Civic fan will probably correct me here, but I believe it's still a K20 engine. Which comes out the factory with about 200 brake, and then the turbocharged seen in the FK2 shape. So yeah, they're pushing about 300 brake horsepower. But to be fair, Dan, this shape in a road-going version is pushing over 300 brake. So realistically, these engines are really quite strong racing engine to start off with. But yeah, they're a mini little sort of touring car really in a Civic form.
Exactly, and I can't complain. It's is some of these cars have actually done a little bit of testing. Actually, I managed to get just a few laps in when I was having a bit of a laugh. And yeah, great fun to drive. Absolutely great fun to drive. They really, really are. A little bit more housekeeping as well. We've got a few more people that jumped in. So we've got Abigail Lower that says good luck, Alfie and Harry, this evening. So welcome to the stream, Abigail. Hope you're all okay. We've also got, that is David Motam saying here he's here for the man, the myth, the legend that is Josh Martin. So hopefully we're going to be seeing a bit of Josh Martin on the stream going forward. Paul Bridge as well saying looking forward to the race, and he's a first-time spectator as well. So a very big warm welcome to you, Paul. So thank you very much for tuning in. I do hope that you're liking what you're seeing. Exactly as we just put in the chat. Keep those shout-outs coming. Let us know who you're supporting as well. It's always good to catch up with the people. If you've got any questions as well, do feel free to ask us. Dave will be the person to ask to answer those questions that you do have. But going to qualifying at the moment, Ryan Elliott, literally times are just coming on the board now. So, and it's Ryan Elliott with a 52.484. So, I mean, that's something, as we said, Kenny Press with a 53.7, speed sound provisionally second. Obviously, times will start to come in, and this is really going to start to roll in. So we're going to see these coming currently on board with Alfie Threlthorn as they go through turn one. A little bit wide through turn one. Dave, question for you actually as well. Like, obviously, you've driven these cars quite heavily, quite extensively. What's the best way, especially going through something like turn one? Obviously, you've got Richard. It's such a fast corner. Like, what's better to do? Is it try and sort of hug the inside a bit more, or is it try and almost square the corner off a little bit? Like, how are these guys going to have to adapt to, especially going through places like, so turn one, Riches, turn 7, Williams onto the Bentley straight, like, and I mean, you've got Coram as well. Like, how are they approaching this? How's the best way to approach these cars?
So if I'm honest, you drive this car quite a lot like you do in real life. For all it's a simulator, it's actually incredibly accurate. You go into turn one, you know, left foot braking because you don't need to use the clutch in this car. It's got the big sequential stick. So left foot braking into turn one, and then almost double pedaling. So using quite a bit of throttle to build that turbo, load that diff up on power, and you know, starting to feed off the brake as you get to mid corner, warm it up and come out the corner with great traction. You know, if you try and go into these corners and start to blend on that throttle, you know, without that little override, that's when it can just start to spin up that inside wheel, or you know, not have the turbo spoon at that peak power, if you like, and you lose that little bit of drive. You know, it's probably, you're talking minutes of tenths here, Dan. You know, it's probably worth half a hundredth maybe, but when we've seen the lap times in the past rounds, that is everything. If you link each one of them up over a lap, you know, that can find you a tenth, 2 tenths over a lap, and you know, that can be the difference between first and maybe fifth.
That's the key thing, isn't it? That's the key thing. It could be the difference between, like I said, 2, even 3 positions. You are absolutely right. But currently topping the timing tower is the one and only Ryan Elliott with a 52.392. Dan Zelos, obviously second in the standing, not too far behind, 2 or just over 2 tenths of a second. I wonder, is he going to be able to improve on that? We've still got 8 minutes of qualifying left. So there is still a while, there's still quite a ways to go for qualifying, so I'm sure we're going to see these times coming down. Mark, who's currently on your screen, in P8, just under a tenth away from Finley Lines. Just under a tenth away from Finley Lines there. So it's a bit of a gap as well. So looking at it, you've got the top 3 again, really quite close. And then, I mean, Kenny Press in P4, I mean, fair play. You cannot argue with Kenny Press at the moment with how he's doing, like I said. And there he is on your screen now, the 888 Civic. P4, very, very respectable drive from him. And he's, I suppose, it is a bit of a gap. Like, you've got Ryan Elliott, Dan Zelos, Josh Martin. They've sort of pulled away quite heavily at the moment, haven't they? They've got that gap. It seems to be in qualifying. But like I said, 7.5 minutes left. A lot can happen. Yeah,
for sure. You know, you've got the top 3 there that, as you say, are within that sort of 4 tenths. But Kenny Press, you know, he sat there in 4th place, 1.3 behind first, but he's not there alone. Look, Harry Omerod just behind, a tenth behind him, and Mick Sutton as well. Great performance by him so far. You know, only half a second behind Kenny Press. So, you know, these are drivers that at the start of the season were definitely a lot further down the grid, and it's great to see them up there fighting for, you know, up towards the top end for sure. So, really impressive drive from them 3 especially.
100%. Yep, absolutely. Is looking further down the field. It's really close in this sort of like midfield section. Eric Bolton as well. We've got he's yet to set a fast lap, but this could very well be one of his fast laps now. So you're currently in P12. Obviously, he's 43 seconds off according to the timing tab. Obviously, that will change when a lap time, when a full lap goes on the board, as he goes through a little bit wide again, going through Brundle, and then getting in the corner down into turn 9 into Nelson. You've got to be committed. I think that's the big keyword, isn't it? Going through turn 8 there, Dave. You've got to be so committed going through Brundle to set yourself up for Nelson. I mean, that's a massive amount of time gain or loss just in those 2 corners, let alone the rest of the track.
Yeah, so the big thing about Snetterton that I realise is, you've got to have a car set up a bit like a rally car. If you see rally cars on stages, they actually look really quite unstable, a bit like they're very loose and they don't quite know which direction they want to face. A lot of people think that's the driver, but they set the cars up that way that allows them to change direction very, very quickly. And you come to Snetterton, if you've got a car that's too balanced and doesn't want to change direction, you end up with a car that's very sluggish through the chicanes. You end up with a car going under that bridge that it feels on the edge, it feels very nervous, but it allows you to then flick straight away into that right and get the car rotated. And having a car under you like that can be incredibly daunting. And if you get it and drive it by the scruff of its neck in that state, that's when you can see the lap time really start to come down. If you're afraid of it and you think you're going to lose the back end, that's straight away where you can lose 2 or 3 tenths in one corner.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, definitely agree. So Finning, as we got that was Finning Lines there is currently. That
was very smooth, actually.
It was actually. Well, I was just said there. It was really, really quite nice going through there. Really, really good indeed going on board. Now this is the tricky one going through into this. I believe is this is Coram. Yes, so turn 11 going to Coram. You got to get the car straight. A little bit too much pace going into. That's the only other problem because you've got majority of, or at least you start braking going through Coram when you're still trying to get the car straight down into Murray's, down into the last corner. And Murray's is always tighter than what you think. I found that out in real life as well. Like, you always have to turn slightly more than you think. Otherwise, you go sailing off, which I may or may not have done. But we're going to gloss over that. Dan Zelos has actually pulled his time down. He's now under 0.2 of a second. Doesn't sound like too much, but that's half a tenth. That's a very, very important margin. Like I said, bear in mind, these two are the battle. While it's 16 points, and between these two drivers, it's still very, very close. That can close up or it can open up equally quite quickly. So any small little margin that Dan can pull back on Ryan Elliott, he's going to absolutely want to do that. Josh Martin, though, look at that, P3. I've just seen Matt Luff as well. These times are actually starting to come down now. So Matt Luff, he's in he's in 4th position, about 4 tenths off of Josh Martin. Ed Sibbald as well, though, just under. He's got 3 tenths in hand on Kenny Press, so he's doing really well in P5. Another very, very good drive indeed for Mr. Sibbald. Unfortunately, having a few problems with his PC a few weeks ago, but he seems to be, touch wood, all back up and running. But yeah, Dan Zelos, can he make an improvement? 3 minutes and 25 seconds left of this qualifying. Can he make an improvement as he goes through, clips just about the right amount of curve going through Murray's? Is he going to improve on this time? We're going to find out in about a moment. I think Ryan Elliott's actually just gone quicker. Now the gap's extended. No, so he's jumped into the pit, so he'll be grabbing some more tyres, and he's just exited, as you can see there. But yeah, Ryan Elliott has just put a 52.161. So I was saying that, and Dan Zelos pulled half a tenth, and then Ryan Elliott is just gapped 3 tenths.
Yeah, I wasn't going to interrupt you, Dan, but I could see he was setting purple times on the lap time board there, and I knew it was going to be a fast lap if he can put that last sector together. And sure enough, there it is, gained an extra, 2.5 tenths on Dan Zelos there. That's sort of crucial as a mind game to go into a race, to know that you have that much of an overlap on lap time. That allows him to just think, all I need to do is go defensive in the first few laps, get in my rhythm and just start to eke it out and build on my lap time, because Dan at the moment can't match that. I was thinking in the run up to there, looking at the timing sheets, Ryan Elliott's done a 52 dead on the overall best times he's ever done, and Dan Zelos has been up at Ryan's pole lap that he's currently set. So I was thinking, Ryan, actually, job's not done here. He needs to go and get a stonker of a lap time in and do what he's done in practice and replicate that. Otherwise, all it's going to take is Dan Zelos to put an equal good lap in of what he's done already, and he could quite easily take pole away. So good job to Ryan under pressure there, and he's got a 52-1 under his belt. But I don't think that's going to be the end of Dan Zelos. You know, he'll be going back out if you try to put them sectors together, and I'd imagine he's going to get quite a bit closer yet.
I'm sure he will. Yeah, we've seen some really, really good performances from Dan Zelos, and I'm sure today will be no different. A bit of sparks there from Harry Ormerod as we go through. Wow, that was that was going through, I believe that was turn 9 into Nelson. And he goes to the infamous bomb hole corner. Got to carry as much speed as you dare. That wasn't actually bomb hole. That wasn't bomb hole. Actually, I'm getting confused. That was Williams. I was going through, so apologies. I'm getting confused. We've just been told as well that someone on track has parted. So Ryan Elliot, look at that. He's in the pits. He doesn't reckon that he needs to do anything more, and he's just gone. Nope. Takes it in hand, and off he goes.
Yeah, it's either that or he's looked at the clock and knows that if he tries to get back out, that he can't do an outlap and a fast lap in the time that's remaining, which I'd imagine that's probably the case. I don't think many drivers go, that's enough, I'll park it there and, you know, job's done. I don't think I could ask him, because if he gets pole here, we'll be interviewing him. I'll ask him in the interview, but we'll wait and see whether he thinks that's a convincing pole or whether it was enough. Because I think you'll find, Dan, I think he would rather go back out and get, you know, a 10th off that again, really. But interesting enough, we'll see if Dan Zelos can beat that time. Equally, Josh Martin. But let's not forget Josh Martin. You know, he's only just over a 10th off Dan Zelos here. You know, he could find himself on the front row of the grid for the start if he managed to beat Dan.
This is very true. This is very true. And I say that, so he's hasn't improved on his time. But he's got one more lap to go, so he has crossed the line with some time in hand. Flies going through Riches. That was very, very quick indeed. Hard stop on the brakes now. Time is just ticked over, so anyone finishing now, that is it. So Elliot is finished. Dan Zelos, he's on one. What can he do with his last lap? There's Josh Martin as well. Matt Luff is still on the cards as well, so if he can find 3 tenths, I mean, fair play. We're going to see if he can improve as well. Pretty much everyone behind him, though, I think is finished. Kenny Press is still on 1 lap, though. Ed Sibbald is finished. So a very respectable P5 from him, indeed. Dan Zelos going through. This is bomb hole corner. You've got to take as much speed as you possibly can without running too wide, and then get the car set up going into corner. Balancing on the throttle and the brakes here. You've got to try and find that balance. Keep the car on that absolute maximum of grip as he goes through Murray. He's very, very clean as well. I mean, to be fair, let's see what times he does. This is his last lap.
It's going to be quick.
Let's see, what is it going to be? It's just about to cross the line now. Oh, that is close. That is close. Just over a 10th and a half off of Ryan Elliott. I mean, yeah, that was a convincing initially, but yeah, Dan Zelos, he's pulled that right back. This is a fight that's going to go all the way through race 1 and all the way going through race 2. But let's see what Josh Martin can do as well. He's got to obviously try and make 4:10. That's a tall order, but even if he can gain some time, that's going to help him.
Yeah,
that's really going to help him.
I'm looking here, Dan. He's already 4/10 down in sector 1. So unfortunately, I don't think Josh has really got anything to offer regarding Dan. But tell you what, the pressure's back on Ryan here. That's just shown, you know, Dan's got that 1 lap pace there. You know, that can be a worry.
It can be a worry, to be fair, but yeah, how is this going to portray in the race? Because this is the thing, keeping up that pace in a racing form, that's going to be impressive, and that's the thing. How long can these guys keep that pace up? But yeah, Ryan Elliott does take your pole position for the final round of the Civic Cup. Absolutely fantastic. As always from Ryan, we've seen a very, very dominant season, and I do believe we just actually had him pop into the commentary booth. So, Dave, I will let you have a chat with him, and we can get ready and go for race 1.
Well, indeed, Dan. I'm down here already in the commentary booth. Ryan Elliott, I think, you know, Dan pretty much summed up there. A fair, flawless performance, really, regarding, you know, I think you've got a perfect track record of pole laps in this championship.
Yeah, a bit of pressure off my shoulder there. Made it 4 for 4, which I was quite happy with. Still not the perfect lap, but again, can't complain.
No, well, I was actually saying, you know, Dan said you put it in the pits early and we weren't going to see you come back out, but I said, you know, I've seen what lap time you can do, and that's not quite actually where you can be. So I said, no, Ryan, he won't be happy until every 100th of a second is being taken out of what he can do. But, you know, Dan Zelos is still there. He's only only a tenth behind you on the grid so far. I take it was looking okay when he was close to half a second off your pace, but I guess that's meaning it's shown that he's got a bit of pace after all.
I mean, Dan Zelos we're talking about here, he's not a slow pilot at all. I know that anywhere, any car, any track, he'll pretty much be there or thereabouts. And P2 does have the inside line for this track, which should make T1 a bit interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, turn 1 and then especially turn 2, the hairpin, it's one of them corners, isn't it? How defensive do you go? Do you hang it to the inside? Do you keep it around the outside? But, you've got 2 drivers behind you that are going to be very hungry here. Is it a relatively defensive start, this race, or are you just going to literally take it, straight away from turn 1 and see whether you've opened up enough of that gap to sort of open the hairpin up and keep your distance?
If I can put myself in a position to be able to open up that hairpin and not have to defend, I'll be over the moon. But I feel like they're going to be right on my heels from the get-go. Just hopefully keep them up there.
If I'm honest, Ryan, we kind of want to see that as spectators, to see a bit of a race. So good luck in race 1. Great job for putting it on pole as well. And we'll hope to be speaking to you after race 1.
Very much.
I think he's reasonably confident there, Dan. I think he knows he's got the pace.
I think he does. It's not for, like you said, Dan Zelos, he has got the inside. He has got the inside of going into race 1. Going into turn 1. I mean, he's confident. You can tell that, but at the same time, he's got to be careful because, as we know, Dan Zelos is not going to give up without a fight in the slightest. Which, and to be fair, we wouldn't expect him to. We know what's going to happen here. We know this is going to be a fight absolutely to the end. So we've got 22 minutes this first race. So we've got that +1 lap as well, which we have seen in some cases. It could really actually be quite a big decider in some instances with what actually with what goes on, and I suppose really also as well, it could be a bit of a decider in sort of positions further down the field as well. So anything can happen, as we have seen.
Definitely. And it was interesting to hear, Ryan point out there that, P2 actually has the inside line, which is very strange, going into turn 1. And as you can see, the difference between P1 and P2, there's not much of a stagger on that at all. So as a driver on the grid who's just put it on pole, Dan will be sitting here going, you know what, I get a good start and I ain't backing out. I'll force Ryan round the outside, gives me the inside line to the hairpin, and Ryan's in a position where he can't really back out and afford to give Dan that place, because if he backs out, you know who's going to be there. Josh Martin's going to be right there. P4 Matt Luff's going to be there. It's a case where they're going to have to hang it round 2 by 2. That loses time, and as I say, 3rd and 4th, I'll be right there to snap anything up.
Exactly. It's all to play for here. It's very much all to play for. And there's going to be any openings, any gaps, any opportunities. It is going to. People are going to pounce. They are absolutely going to pounce. We've got in the bottom right corner of your screen, we've got that is Alfie Threlfall's onboard camera. So hopefully we're going to see what happens going forward on his camera, actually moving through the first lap or so. He's a little bit further down the field. Yeah, in terms of, it's just who gets the run. Who gets the run into turn 1? If Dan Zelos can get the run and get the jump going through, and he can defend going through into Montreal, I think Ryan Elliott's going to have a very, very difficult time, because you know what Dan Zelos is going to do. He's just going to back him up 100% into Josh Martin. And this could actually be what we looked in terms of qualifying, which almost seemed like a bit of a three-way battle. That could very quickly turn into a 4, 5 or 6 car battle, but the lights are on. We're not going to be too long away from finding out for race 1 here for the final round at Snetterton. Off we go. Who gets the jump? Ryan Elliott gets a blinding start, to be fair. Already pulled a car late on him, but Dan Zelos cut straight back to the inside, exactly as we would have expected to do. Then goes back out going to turn 1. Dan Zelos not giving up that position though, or trying not to as much as he can. Josh Martin though, Ryan Elliott, apologies. Ryan Elliott going through, he almost, I thought he was going to go defensive a little bit earlier, but decides to get it. Dan Zelos has got, big tap there. I'm trying to think who that was. That was, I believe, Josh Martin that tapped him there. And Dan Zelos has gone from P2 to P4. So you've got Matt Luff now in P2, Josh Martin in P3. But this has just allowed already Ryan Elliott to disappear 7 tenths up the road.
Yeah, that's exactly what Ryan needs. You know, the second, third, and fourth all have a little bit of a battle. You know, Ryan's going, right, boys, see you later. Head down, out the mirror. But as you see, Dan Zelos actually losing another place here. You're dropping down to fifth. I mean, this is going to put him around the outside. Very brave. He's going to keep it lit. Very, very nip and tuck there up the inside. As we see, I believe that was Finley Lyons going very wide as well. All action here, Dan.
As we've just been told as well, unfortunately, Finley Lyons just got pushed off there. Not ideal as well, but the battle still raging on between Dan Zelos and Ed Sibbald. What is going to happen here? There's a bit of argy-bargy going between both drivers. They're given as good as they get. Are they going to go side by side? I think they are, actually. They're going to go side by side down into Brundle. What is going to happen here? So you've got Ed Sibbald that's going to have the inside going into Brundle. He's going to have the outside going into Nelson. Who's going to have it? Dan Zelos has to back out of it. So Ed Sibbald really putting the defensive driving on at the moment, and he is not backing down. He's in P4. So again, a great drive from him. He hasn't actually got too far up the road to go. The gap has extended a little bit between Matt Luff and Josh Martin. Oh, that was some of the back. That's Harry Threlfall that's had a bit of an off going through into Coram. That was, I believe, that could have been contact with his brother then, I believe, there, Dave. Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, that isn't ideal. Ideal, is it at all? You know, we're never happy when drivers, you know, have a little punt or, you know, have a go at each other. But I think it's fair to say, when it comes to brothers, they definitely don't want to be messing with it. As we see, Josh Martin very wide, Dan Zelos with an easy move upside, and here comes Sibbald as well up the inside. Josh Martin's going to get hung out to dry here.
Well, I say he's going to get hung out to dry, but he's not giving up the position too easily. He manages to keep it round the outside going into turn 2, and that's put Sibbald on the outside for turn 3. But Ed Sibbald, though, look, he is not giving up anything at all, but he is going to have to, unfortunately, concede the position. He hasn't got the front tyres to I think what Ed needs to do at this point there, he needs to allow these cars, actually, no, he's going to prove me completely wrong. He's going to go up the inside going into, that's Agostini, turn 4, but Dan Zelos has been promoted back up into P3. But look at that, Ed Sibbald, he's going to go side by side with Josh Martin. There's still a bit of contact there you just saw in the back of shots there, but Josh Martin again has to concede the position. So Ed Sibbald, great onboard shot here. You can see Ed Sibbald already defending, but Harry Ormerod is behind, as long with Kenny Press as well. So this battle here, if these guys keep battling how they are, that's really going to hold them up. So this is probably a 4-way battle now for P4. But then up the road further, you've got Dan Zelos and Matt Luff, because I think Dan Zelos is going to have a move. I think he's going to have a move sooner rather than later, just looking at the timing towers. What is going to happen here? But look at the closing speed, actually. Interesting enough, the closing speed. Ed Sibbald goes very, very sideways. Man, what a save from Ed Sibbald there. He lost half a second, maybe just a bit more than that. What a save there from Ed Sibbald. That was absolutely incredible. Side by side there between, this is too much action to continue with. Dan Zelos and Matt Luff, they're going to go side by side. Dan Zelos on the inside. Oh, I thought that was going to be that camera angle. Looked a bit spicy there, but Dave, this battle, if these guys keep battling how they are, this is going to be like a 7-way battle for P3.
Yeah, I have a feeling the rate this is going. You know, Ryan Elliott's not going to get too much screen time, is he? You know, he's 5.5 seconds up the road, but meanwhile, further back, the rest of the cars are 2x2. It's blooming Noah's Ark here.
Exactly, absolutely. Although, to be fair, less Noah's Ark style now, because they both go through turns 1. You've got, that is Josh Martin going on the defensive from Ed Sibbald. You've also got Matt Luff still defending as well from Dan. Look at the gap, though. The gap is starting to come down. Ryan Elliot has, like I said, he's not going to get much screen time. I don't think he's really going to care all that much, to be fair, because he's 6.2 seconds up the road at this point. But the gap coming down between Luff and Zelos, and then you've got 0.8 of a second between Martin and Sibbald. I thought Sibbald was going to have a bit of a move there. That was going to be a brave lunge going through. On the rear now of Josh Martin, so you can see a 4-way battle, but coming out, Dan Zelos having a look going through. That was going through, I believe, that was into Hamilton, turn 5. So Dan Zelos wants his position sooner rather than later. Gap has come down even further now. It's 0.4 of a second. Ed Sibbald has dropped a little bit off at this point. I don't think that's a bad thing, though, because you think this is a 2-way battle now. Josh Martin, he's not too far behind. This is going to be a 3-way battle. Ed Sibbald's only half a second behind, and then you've got Ormerod and Kenny Press behind that as well. This is going to be a very, very close battle. What is Dan Zelos going to do here? He's now the inside going into Brundle. He's going to be on the outside going through into Nelson. I honestly don't know. It's too close to call, but he still can't quite make the move stick. This is oh my goodness, what happened there? I think Dan Zelos, he must have had a bit of oversteer moment. Caught the grass of it potentially there, Dave?
Yeah, maybe that, but I tell you what, fair play to Matt Luff there. Hung around the outside, he could have very easily just got on the brakes a bit sooner there, took him behind Dan Zelos, but he wasn't having any of it. Matt Luff is really impressing me here at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, all of these drivers are impressing me. At the moment, they're doing an absolutely incredible job on board now. Ryan Elliott just put in the fast, and he's just sailed off into the distance. 8.6 seconds now is the gap up ahead between Elliott and Luff. So he's going to lap the field if he carries on at this rate. Yeah, on board still with Josh Martin. This is a three-way battle now. For Pete, it's going to be a four-way battle because the way these guys are defending. Is Josh Martin going to have a look up the inside? He's going to give it a good go, And I think, do you know what? He may have actually... No, he's not done it. He hasn't quite done it yet. He's got to get through turn 3 and to make that move stick. Going through into Palmer. Side by side between Martin and Zelos. Is he going to make the move stick? Do you know what? I think he's actually managed to try it. They're still side by side there. But Ed Sibbald, is he going to try and actually capitalise on Josh Martin being on the outside because he can't go in? What's going to happen here? They're all concertinaing up now. Still side by side is Martin and Zelos. And Matt Luff is just, trying to he's keeping his composure absolutely spot on at the moment in time. But Josh Martin, look at that, round the outside of Dan Zelos. He's now in P3. What a move that he set up about 3 corners ago. But Dan Zelos, a little bit of a tap there. Oh, a bit more argy-bargy. Come on, gents, now take it easy. We've got 13 minutes left of this race. And Dan Zelos goes back into the lead, but not for very long because Josh Martin is now going to try and come around the outside. And again, this is going to be 2 by 2 again. Dave, I'll let you talk this one through.
Yeah, this is great. Dan Zelos has been in this position before in the mini challenge, going under the bridge, and I tell you what, it didn't end up pretty, but will he make it stick this time? He has indeed. Josh Martin dropped in behind, and I tell you what, things are definitely hotting up behind with Harry Omerod. Can he press?
I know, because look at this. So now battle's actually almost come back a little bit. So now Josh Martin back into 4th place. He's got Ed Sibbald now really close behind him. And yes, Omerod and Kenny Press. Kenny Press, actually, do you know what? I think Kenny Press is doing a stellar job. He's just sitting there. He's not making too many moves. He's not making too many positions. He's not trying to attack too much because he knows that he needs to just catch up and keep with the pack as long as he can because... And what we're probably seeing here, he's also conserving his tyres as well. This is a good thing. He's been driving nice and conservatively. He's just sitting on the back of this train. So when they all start catching up again, but Dan Zelos is making up his own track there going through into turn 1. What's going to happen to turn 2? He's already got the move made on that is Matt Luff. But Matt Luff's going to try and go around back up the inside. Can't quite do it though. This has now released Dan Zelos. You watch. If the pace is there for Dan Zelos, if he can keep his composure there, then that's now going to pull away because Matt Luff and Josh Martin are already starting to battle. And that gap is already 0.8 of a second. I wonder if Martin and Luff, are they going to start working together? Doesn't look like it because I think Josh Martin wants the inside. He wants P3 already. A little bit of concertinaing up there again. So battle for P3 very quickly becoming 4 cars yet again. Wow, I need a strong drink after this because this is just I need to who was that gone wide? Someone went very, very wide there. That was Luff. So Luff has lost 1 position. Is he going to lose another one? I'm not too sure. I think Ed Sibbald was going to try and go around the inside going through into Williams. I think he's made that mistake. He has indeed. So Ed Sibbald again not delaying at all. But Matt Luff losing 2 positions, 2 for the price of 1 there. So not ideal. That one mistake costing him 2 positions. That's now released Josh Martin. But now we've got Matt Luff. Don't go 3 wide, gents. That's not going to end well. They're going to give it a good go, though. Oh, my goodness. Ed Sibbald still manages to come out on top. But no, he doesn't because Matt Luff decides he's going to get the cut back as well. Oh, my good.
That was incredible. I think I'm going to have to record that one.
They're still not giving up. But Matt Luff, he's actually got a bit of a jump now. We've got Omerod that's now capitalised on what this battle that was happening. 3 wide going through. Absolutely fair play. Oh, that was Kenny Press just going on the... that was on the exit of Murray's. I think he may have lost the back end. Maybe grabbed the curb a little bit too much. So he's now gone around. Bit unfortunate for Kenny Press. He was doing an absolutely amazing job. But Mark Hughes as well is having a battle. This is actually now the battle with Kenny Press. So Kenny Press has got to try and move back through this field. I'm sure with the pace that he had, that's definitely going to be something that we're going to see Kenny Press do. He has a look, just putting himself in his mirrors, just in Mark Hughes' mirrors there. Bit of a tap there. Boot full of power from Mark Hughes, manages to keep it all in check. And then Kenny Press, he has another small excursion. That's unfortunately going to lose him another place to Bolton. Yes, so P9 now Bolton moves up. So yes, Mark Hughes has been released from that battle with Kenny Press. Ed Sibbald, I'm just looking further, a little bit further up the field. So I think Josh Martin has been released. You've got Luff that's, I mean, to be fair, that's half a second apiece between Luff and Ormerod and Sybil. So that battle is definitely not over. But, I mean, those 5 or 6 laps were just absolutely, you did not know what was going to happen at any one point. I've never seen people go 3 wide and actually all 3 make it out alive going through into Brundle. I've never seen that ever.
It was the way in which they sort of did undercuts and actually changed positions mid corner. Was like, it was the sort of stuff you see in dancing or something like that. You know, it was. I can't quite believe what I've just seen there. If I'm honest, Dan, it was that had, you know, huge crash written all over it for me. So huge, fair play to them 3 drivers for getting through there. And I tell you what, Matt Luff, he must have been making sounds in that car like getting into a hot bath. That back end was definitely trying to overtake him. And he used it as a perfect rally Scandi flick into the right-hander and got the undercut in doing so. Phenomenal.
Absolutely, but we've just had it. Look, you can see on the timing tower. Look at that. The battle's still going up ahead. You've just seen those 3. Ed Sybil has just got past Ormerod. And that's now. I think Ormerod's actually going to try and come back. Is he though? So you can see Ed Sybil. I think maybe a little bit of bump drafting there going down the Senna straight. What's going to happen into turn 1? I think it's going to be Ormerod going to try and go through. Oh my goodness. No, they don't. Ed Sybil managing to find some grip on the outside, and he manages to keep that car in check going through into turn 2. So can they catch up? I wonder. Are they going to be able to catch up? I think Ormerod, depending on who's quicker, I think they've both got potential to catch up with Luff. So if they can catch up again, that battle can become a 3-way battle yet again. 7 minutes and 50 seconds left of race 1. But looking at the gap, sort of almost like Concertina's, like for the, you know, it sort of like opens up. Almost like the accordion effect, sort of like opens up with the first like 2 or 3 corners and then sort of condenses all up normally through that last section, which to be fair would actually sort of make sense, I suppose, because again the commitment you need, Dave, going through Brundle and Nelson, that could really be the difference between making time up and losing it.
And also the toe, you know, you get a huge toe down the back of the Bentley straight, and you know there's nothing you can really do when the driver is within that half a second and closes right up. As we see, Harry Ormerod here has had a great run through, and he's going to move right on the back of Sybil here. Now, Sybil's going to defend the... Oh, he hasn't. He's actually jinked right, so he's given Harry Ormerod the inside line. That might be a valuable mistake there. This is going to give Harry almost the chance to just go straight past, unless if Sybil's going to get an undercut. I don't think he is. Harry just needs to keep it tidy, and job's done there. You know, that's where Sybil there should have probably defended left instead of right, and you know, forced Harry to go around the outside into the right-hander. Normally the position the driver doesn't want to be in.
Possibly. I mean, I wonder, it could Sybil be sort of maybe sitting in their position going, he's got some good points on the board at the moment, he's maybe going to try and let Ormerod catch up with Luff and see if they can battle for that last 10 minutes, then he'll catch up that way, because the gap is already extended a little bit. It's half a second. So we're going to have to see if that gap between Ormerod and Luff comes down. It's just sitting over a second at this moment in time. So we're going to see potentially if that gap comes down. Meanwhile, this is Kenny Press and Bolton. So Bolton, what's going to be the person coming out on top? I think Kenny Press is going to have the... Oh, he's probably got the line. Oh, Bolton, no, they're not just giving him about enough room. No more, no less. But Kenny Press does make that move. So he's now into P9. But defending quite heavily, though. So Bolton, he's going to try and get the cutback. I think he is, but no, he just went a little bit too wide there. So I think that move is done and dusted. So just
to go back to turn 1, Dan, here, when you were saying about the line choice into turn 1, that sort of showed what I was on about. You had, you know, I believe it was Kenny Press round the outside there, and you had Bolton up the inside. Now the problem you've got is if you go to try and go an inside move there, to get past the car you have to commit to more speed going in, but the line choice into turn 1 is outside to inside, so it means the car on the outside goes into the corner with more entry speed, meaning that to go for a dive up to turn 1, unless if you're over half a car, over a full car past going up the inside, that move is incredibly hard to pull off, because the difference in speed between the 2 cars on the different approach to the same corner, you almost can't make it work.
I mean, to be fair, it's definitely true what you're saying there. It's such a fast corner going through turn 1. Although, I mean, if any drivers can do it, it's definitely these guys. You know, we saw that going through turn 8. I mean, if any of these drivers are going to give it a go, it's definitely going to be these lot on the grid. Do you know what I think? I think it was a tactful move between Ed Sybil to let him by, because there was no defensive driving at all. And looking at the gap between Ormerod and Luff, it's gone from a second to half a second. I think Ed Sybil he had his sensible hat on then, and he allowed the battle to go up ahead, and he's going to try and capitalise on that going forward, which I think the battle is already happening now. So side by side between Matt Luff and Ormerod, who is going to be the one out on top? It still is Luff that's going to lead going into turn 2. But look, this has already allowed Ed Sybil to catch up. He's done nothing at this point. He's just sat there. He's driving his normal race, and he's now caught up best part of 7/10 of a second already. And he might, excuse me, I've just interrupted. Sorry, Dave, you might have to take over for this for a second.
I will indeed. I mean, I thought Sybil there was actually going to get the undercut on Harry. Harry pushed the front end a little bit, ran it wide, and Sybil was up the inside. It was nearly job done. Ormerod here going very defensive. Oh, that was late on the brakes by Sybil there. Going to run a little bit wide. Might get the undercut here. Get the overspeed on Harry. Not quite. Oh, he's going to go for it. Going to go for it into, I believe, the left-hander. Harry's just about held on there. Going to allow for a possible undercut again here. Dan, I mean, do we want to try and swap positions anymore in this race?
I know. Apologies, everyone. I am back. So thank you, Dave, for stepping on the short note. Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to give it a go. They are absolutely going to give it a go.
Look at Matt Luff. He's done absolutely nothing. About 4 corners, the 2 behind battling, and there's over a second gap pulled away straight away.
I know. This is the thing. It's like you've got to time it so well. That was Ormerod going a little bit wide, going through into Brundle. Is he going to get the run going through into Nelson? Oh, Ed Sybil having a look. Darts to the left, darts to the right, darts one way or the other. He can't make up his mind. But they're going to have to go single file now. Go through Corm. Oh, that's a brave move there, Ed. Don't try and make that move going through Corm, because that's not going to end well. But he's right on the tail. Is it going to be a last bit lunge? Ormerod's having to go defensive going into Murray's. Great camera shot here from Ed Sybil, so you can see exactly what is going on board his car. Tries to go through almost a bit of a cutback there through Murray's, but can't quite get it stuck. 2 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock as they cross the line. Ed Sybil there. Do you know what? Ormerod, I thought he was actually going to go quite defensive. This is going to be a very, very shallow, a bit of a shallower line there for Ormerod, and that's allowed Sybil to again pull that gap a little bit. But yes, meanwhile, the gap is opening up. 1.6 seconds now between Ormerod and Luff. So exactly as you said, Dave, like these drivers, they don't need to do anything. If guys are battling up in front or behind them, I mean, they're either going to catch up and pull away without having to put any effort in whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly that. Always a little touch there. Harry just got away from that little touch there. Turn round the left-hander and you receive a touch to that back left corner. That's when they can't really try and snap on you and fight the opposite way. But well held, you know, Sybil here, you know, you said about not being too defensive. I tell you what, he is really attacking Ormerod here. He could do this. This could be 5th place for him. Meanwhile, Matt Luff is just looking behind going, well, them drivers are battling there. I'm going to keep my head down, pull away. And this is a great drive so far from Matt Luff.
It is indeed, absolutely. Like I said, 1.8 second now. He's pulled 0.2 of a second. It hasn't been that much battling. So I think he's pulling away now on merit. Unfortunately, Ed Sybil dropped off. Ed Sybil has dropped off a little bit. The gap is just 0.9 of a second. But I mean, to be fair, again, Dave, this has to be one for you as well. Like, how quickly are these drivers, do you reckon? How quickly are these drivers heating up their tyres? Because the action that we've seen, actually, we've got a bit of a battle going on behind between Sutton and Hughes. So that's one we're going to be potentially having a look at. We've got Kenny Press as well. So Kenny Press is having he's catching up. Look at this. This is the battle for P7. So Sutton, Hughes and Kenny Press is there or thereabouts. He's got, I believe there's going to be 2 more laps to go. Because we've got 45 seconds left on the clock. We've got this lap and another one. Oh, that was, my goodness. Kenny Press tries to go up the inside into Murray's.
I think he was trying to go over the top, I think.
He was reminds me of Michael Gambon in Top Gear when he goes 2 wheels on the Gambon corner.
Where
impressive.
you want to put a sponsor under the car instead of on the side.
Exactly. Impressive there. Impressive, Kenny Press. He manages to keep it all going in a straight line, which is exactly what he wants. But he's dropped the pace off, and he's dropped that gap, 1.2 seconds now. So I think that's. I mean, he's got 2 laps to get the move gone again and to get going. So he has got a little bit of time left to go. We're gonna have to see how that develops in the next couple of laps. But yes, Sutton at the moment. Mick Sutton taking the opportunity to drive away. Meanwhile, over the front, looking again further up the field, Ormerod and Sybil, the gap has closed again. It was a second, and now it's 0.4 of a second. I think it could be as well, like tyres are sort of heating up there. So Eddie, you see the drop off, so he allows the car almost to cool down a little bit, gain his composure back, and then he picks up that pace like a switch, and then pulls half a second out of the bag, and then jumps straight back on the back of Ormerod again. So yes, we've got those battles up ahead. So you've got Ormerod and Sybil. This battle is still going to be a thing. So let's keep an eye on this. I'm going through in this last lap because this is something to be to 100% watch, because Kenny Press has already dropped that gap down from 1.2 seconds to 1.5. Look at the battle. Just gone out shot between Sybil and Ormerod. What is going to happen here? I think there's going to be potential outside manoeuvres between Sybil trying to go around the outside of Ormerod. And I think, you know, we've just seen on the timing towers tick over. Picture in picture now, just in the bottom right corner of your screen. Sybil has done it. They're going to go through the bomb hole side by side. Oh my goodness. And then Ormerod goes, wow, that was interesting. That's a bit of a rallycross there for Ormerod, but I mean, to be fair, they both held their lines. Just Ormerod, he was on the outside. He just got pushed off just that little bit. And unfortunately, that was done and dusted move for Ed Sybil. So he's now up into P5. Great move there. Really set it up. Probably going through. Oh, no. What was that? That was Mark Hughes that's gone off. Big shunt there from Mark Hughes going on the exit of Murray's. That was just, I think, 3 cars going into one. Never fits.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was maybe Mark Hughes trying to close off Mick Sutton's front end there on exit of the corner, and Mick Sutton's going, well, I'm on the edge of the grass, where do you want me to go? And unfortunately, that just basically meant that I believe Mark Hughes got a little bit of a turnaround there. But yeah, I mean, to go and see Harry Ormerod go off the track there and get air like that, I mean, you know, there must be a fair big bump in there, and especially going to race 2, that could be something to watch out for. You know, that it's a very easy place, especially when the pack's bunched up. You can see it's a very narrow line through there, and you know, you try to go 2 abreast in there, there's only one person that's going to really come out that corner. So yeah, in the second race, definitely you want to watch. You don't want to be running wide there.
No, you don't. This is this is very true.
Otherwise, there's 400 quid for a split of plus VAT.
I mean, to be fair, you're not wrong at all. But look at that, Ryan Elliot. I mean, to be fair, the man that has eluded us for this entire first race, and I'm sure, like I said, he will not mind at all. So that gap has extended ever more. He's got one more corner to go. 9.5 seconds. He's going to take the win, going through Murray's for the last time for race 1 of the Milltek Civic Cup. Look at that. He's got about 200 meters left to go. And Ryan Elliott takes the race 1 victory here at Snetterton. He's elated, as you can see, and rightly so, because he knows, all importantly, that championship has extended. And that championship is really extended even further. So 16 points, I believe that's going to extend to about 18 or 19 points of an advantage. But yeah, Dan Tielos coming home in P2. Josh Martin, incredible display of attacking, defending, and a bit of everything in between to come home in P3 on his lonesome there. But look at that, Matt Luff going through in P4, Ed Sybil in P5. A great drive from Sybil, really taking the fight to everyone at the front. He's really setting into this Civic Cup really well. We saw that all the way at the start of the season at Brands Hatch. He was on it. And we've seen that really progress through Harry Ormerod in P6. Mick Sutton, Kenny Preston 7th, Mick Sutton in 8th. Finny lined in P10 with Mark Hughes. Unfortunately, last lap, coming on to the last lap, having that small excursion, and that, small excursion, quite a big shunt on the exit of Murray's. That is Alfie Threlfall in 12th, Harry Threlfall in P13. I mean, Dave, for all we've seen bigger grids, but at the same time, we've seen that's the most action I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen bigger action. That was, you know what, as well, it was really refreshing to see. You know, unfortunately we didn't get hardly any screen time with the top 3 drivers, but I tell you what, the rest of the grid further down from 4th backwards, the battles we've just seen there, you wouldn't think they're running that far back off first place. They might as well be at the forefront of all the action, because they put on one hell of a show there. What I've also just worked out there, just a little heads up going into race 2, Josh Martin, you know, was 46 points going into that. Senna Proctor on 79 points. Obviously, he's not here. That's a points gap of 33 points. So he's just scored 15 from race 1 for finishing 3rd. So it actually means Josh Martin needs to finish 2nd to make sure he can actually get 3rd place. Otherwise, any lower down than that, unfortunately, Josh Martin will have to settle for 4th.
Interesting stuff. We're going to see how this race 2 develops. But we do have, I believe, Dave, some drivers in the commentary booth. So we're going to, I'll let you have a chat with those guys, because I'm so excited to hear what these guys have to say.
We're jumping to our P3 finisher, Josh Martin. I mean, we've been saying how full of action that race was, and you know, you were a big part of that, especially in the early stages of the race.
Yeah, that first half of the race was chaos. It was like you were trying to defend, attack, like everything was going on. And then my second half of the race was kind of in no man's land.
I mean,
in my mirrors, it all going on behind.
That side of driving for me, especially when you're battling as hard as when you were, you must have had a grin on your face there. That was epic.
Yeah, it was really good fun. I got a nice damaged car from it as well afterwards, which wasn't ideal. But the actual battle, it was good fun.
Well, Josh, you know it's sim racing. At least it means you don't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Well, cheers for that, Josh. Great
Cheers.
result in race 1, and look forward to seeing how you can get through the grid in race 2.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And we jump to our P2 finisher, Dan. Equally with the action, you got your fair share of action at the start with Josh Martin.
You took the words right out of my mouth at the start there. I had a big grin on my face for the first 3-4 laps of the race. I didn't really want to break away from the pack. I kind of wanted to carry on the battles, but I mean, there's people here that I haven't raced against before in real life or in sim race before, like Matt Luff as well. He was defending like hell, and kept me off for a long time, and alongside with Josh as well. Had a great battle. It was a shame that Ryan can get involved. I was thinking about saying over the mic, Ryan, go on, wait for us, we can all have a little good battle here, but no, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the reverse grid in race 2 now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the quality of driving, especially off the start there, was phenomenal. It didn't really seem like there was really that many collisions, and it really allowed for some really good, clean racing at the start and allowed for them battles. I mean, the rate in which you, Josh Martin, the other drivers behind you were swapping places. I mean, I believe you dropped down to 5th or 6th place within the first lap, and watching you trying to come through that grid, they weren't making it easy for you, Dan.
No, definitely not. It's Snetterton's wide in places, and there's lots of space to overtake, but people were placing their cars perfectly, and it did not make my job easy at all. I mean, but 2-3 laps like that, and Ryan was 9-10 seconds ahead. But no, I don't regret the little battles I had. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to more in race 2. It reminds me a little bit of a British touring car, which is great to see.
Yeah, well, I was also just saying in the interview, in the commentary, as well. I'm not going to say you have fond memories of going for overtakes under that bridge, but you've had your moments in the past going under there on the sim racing world. I don't know whether you've experienced that in the real world as well, but that under the bridge hasn't been your friend in the past, but you pulled off some really good moves there.
Yeah, the mini challenge E-Series is not a fond memory down there, and it is a little bit hairy when you're too wide in a real life race car as well. But I made sure I used my head that time, and when I was on the outside, kind of gave up the place, and when I was on the inside, made sure I braked late enough to hold the position. But no, it wasn't easy, but no, I really enjoyed it.
No, cracking race that, Dan, and good solid result in race 1 there, which definitely looks good for your championship for finishing in P2. And good luck going into race 2, and let's see how you get through the grid.
Much.
And on to our P1 finisher. Poor lap, P1, very, very much in no man's land. That was the start you needed, wasn't it, Ryan?
I think, if I've done my calculations right, I might have wrapped it up. Because I think
I believe you have. With fastest lap, I believe you wrapped it up.
Because if it goes down to it in a DNF and Dan wins and gets fastest lap, I should win on count back for the most wins. So
yeah, you should. You know what? You've just worked it out, because I had you down as being on tie points, but to be fair, with you having that extra point for also fastest lap, it's took you over to that magic 21 number, and there you are, provisional victor of the Civic Cup championship as well. So yeah, this is going to be quite a nice race 2 for you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. No, now I know I can just have some fun. So we're just going to crack on with this one. There's only 15 seconds until we start, so I'm probably going to shoot, but
I'll let you go then. I'll let you go, and I'll get back in the comms box.
Well, look at that, 15 seconds to go. It's going to be a bit less than that. So, like I said, Ryan Elliot has wrapped up the championship, but what is he going to do for race 2 with that 12 grid? Here we are, lights are on, and away we go for the final race and the final round of the Milltek Civic Cup. Who is going to get the good start? I believe that is Mark Hughes on the inside going into turn 1. I think that is indeed Mark Hughes. Alfie Threlfall in P2 with Finn Lines in P3. Great start from him. What's going to happen further down the field? It's gone all a bit chaotic in the back. I think we go 3 wide. It seems that our Alfie Threlfall has already gone. No, it has gone 2 wide. All there's people off. That's Ed Sibbald, I think. Matt Luff has gone off as well. So Kenny Press as well in P13, so it's not gone well for some of these drivers at the start of race 2. But Bolton is up into P3, so Finley Lyons is in P2, with Hughes currently leading by 0.4 of a second. Further down the field, though, that's going to be sideways. Ryan Elliott, I thought he was going to try and make a move going on the inside of Mick Sutton there, but decides against it. It was very, very close, though.
It was indeed, and I tell you what, it's another relatively clean start there. I think we saw a few guys get a little bit sideways. As we see Alfie Threffel go very, very wide. This is going to be carnage if he comes on track into the right-hander. Yep, read it like a book. And luckily, Josh Martin there has just managed to get round the outside there. You know what? I could read that there. He went wide on the grass. He's got gravel on his tyres, coming back onto a tight right-hander where there's another 3 cars going for the same part of tarmac. It was never really going to pan out, that.
No, bit of a shame that. Like I said, cold tides as well. That doesn't help. So everyone's a little bit more on edge, which obviously isn't ideal as well. So yeah, not ideal. Unless race 1 was definitely a cleaner start. But at the same time, though, with the pace that some of the drivers had, even with this reverse grid, we're going to see some really, really good racing. Mark Hughes still leading. Look at that. Bolton actually going up on 2 wheels as well. Almost getting checked up by Finley Lyons, probably a little bit too soon then, sooner than he was expecting. But look at this train. Again, it's one big, long Civic Cup car. But yeah, Finley Lyons doing a very good job in P2 at the moment. Did a side-by-side between Bolton and that's Elliot, already up into P3 now. So, I mean, we know the pace that Elliot has got. And he's now just doing, like, so he has provisionally has wrapped up the championship. So, yeah, all he's just doing this is for, complete merit. He's trying to get a clean sweep on this event. But a bit of side-by-side there from Dan Zelos, I believe, trying to go through on Bolton for P4. And you know what? I think he's actually got the position. Bolton's actually had an off. He's dropped down right down the timing order. I wonder if there was a bit of contact potentially there going into turn 3. Going into Palmer Corner. Side by side there, Ryan Elliott already up the inside of Finley Lyons. He is not hanging about at all. I tried to push him off there, but Finley Lyons still managed to hold his own. He found some grip there. No, bit of more contact there. Jed's got to keep it nice and easy. But this last round, last race, and there's absolutely nothing in it for these guys. Now they are just going absolutely flat out. Look at that now. Dan Zelos on the inside, potentially going through into... Do you know what? I think he's actually going to try and do it. That was so close from Dan Zelos there.
You know what, Dan? If I'm truly honest, I saw Ryan put the lunge on Finley there, and I saw getting on the power, just trying to run him wide a bit. And you know what? Fair play to Finley for the next left-hander. Did exactly the same, lent on Ryan a bit and went, you know what? I may be 9, but I can throw my weight round as well.
Exactly. But unfortunately, he lost out going through into turn 8 to Ryan Elliott. And then he lost out to turn 9. Lost out to Zelos in turn 9. So... yeah, a couple of position drop there for Finley, but so this is all. The good thing is with this as well, it's all a learning curve as well. Like I said, with 97, the racecraft that we've seen from this Nairo is absolutely fantastic. But even so, it's all still a learning curve. It's a learning curve for everyone, and to be put in the thick of it in this sort of championship with these sort of drivers, I mean, as learning curves go, this is definitely a steep one, but a really, really good one to have. That is Ormerod, I think, is going to try up the inside going through into turn 1. Is this going to be good? Is this going to be going up the inside? That was very late on the brakes there for Ormerod. He's actually just got fastest lap as well. I wonder how long that will stay there before Ryan Elliott gets some pace on. But Finley Lyons not giving up though going into turn 2. This has allowed Mick Sutton to catch up. Bit of a bump there. Bit more of a bump there. Wow, these drivers, these cars are going to need new bonnets, bumpers, roofs, you name it, they're going to need it. So this battle has now become, you've got Ormerod, Lyons, Sutton and Threlfall. And that's, I believe, that's Threlfall. He's going to try at the inside. Very, very late lunge there going through for Threlfall on Mick Sutton. Doesn't quite make the move stick though. So that is Harry Threlfall that continues his course. Ryan Elliott going so very wide going through. That was Hamilton, I believe. And as they go now through into Oggies and then Williams trying to get the cut back, or trying to get the run going down into Brundle. I mean, the rate these guys and how close these 3 are, I think Ryan Elliott's going to try and make a move up the inside going through into Brundle. What should we put on that, Dave? Because actually, he might try to go around the outside.
You know what? He might try it in here, but I'm doubtful. But I tell you what, Mark Hughes, this is the sort of driver that, you know, was so unfortunately lose out in the last stages of race 1. But actually, he needs to realise these 2 drivers behind him have got some serious pace. Oh, I might have saw him on that little grass with a bump, and Dan Zelos is going to read that as well, go up the inside. But Mark Hughes needs to realise these two drivers are rapidly fast at the moment, and if he can go with them, this could be a good chance for getting on the podium.
Well, exactly. I mean, yeah, that was really, lastminute.com there from Ryan Elliot. That's a brave move going, making a move going into bomb hole. That's a very, very brave move. But Ryan Elliot does come out on top. Dan Zelos not too far behind. He's definitely a lot closer than what he was in race 1. This we have now a bit further. They're going to go through into turn 1. Oh my goodness, chaps, how is that going to work? Oh, how on earth did they all get through? Look at Ed Sibbald. He's just gone, thank you very much. He's just set at the inside of Mick Sutton. So Mick Sutton there just, to be fair, wisely backed out of it. Look at Ed Sibbald. He's just taking boosts. He's just like picking them off, taking the candy from a baby. He's just picking these guys off like they're standing still. He's got 2 positions in 2 corners with almost doing nothing. I don't know how he made turn 1 work like that. That was 3 cars, I believe I'm right in saying that. 3 cars into turn 1, middle one backs out, outside one gets the undercut on the inside car. I mean, it was a bit like the race 1 thing where you do 3 cars under the bridge. We are seeing driving here that I haven't seen ever in sim racing before. The way these drivers are moving around and aware of each other, or maybe the case is they're not aware of where each other are, and they're managing to make moves that are just unheard of around here. I know. It's just absolutely intense. And this, like, we've still got 12 minutes and 46 seconds left of this race to go. But yeah, Ed Sibbald, 2 positions, and just, 2 positions, 2 corners, and he made them look absolutely effortless. I've known Ed a very, very long time. I've known it for a very long time, and the way he's come about this championship, he's just absolutely settled in, nailed what he needs to do, and he has just made progress upon progress upon progress, taking the fight to the big boys, and it's really, really good to see. So absolutely fantastic stuff there from Ed Sibbald. Really, really good stuff that he's getting involved in other championships and other series as well. To be fair, VRRC providing some fantastic racing, and it's a credit to you guys as well. I say Dave, Rich, because the championships, the racing that we're seeing, I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I've got to admit, when we made this championship, we knew it was going to be good, but the action that this is providing, especially in this round, I haven't had a championship that's provided anything like this at the moment. This is incredible driving from these guys, especially low down the pack as well. A really high standard of driving here with moves that, I wouldn't dream of trying to do. But interesting enough here, we're seeing Dan Zelos actually trying to battle Ryan Elliot here now. Unfortunately, Ryan, pulled that massive 10-second lead in race 1. We didn't really see him get involved in anything. But this race, it's a bit closer, isn't it, Dan? Dan Zelos is looking at this going, you know what, Ryan? I reckon I can hang with you here. Let's go, give it a go.
Well, to be fair, obviously Ryan Elliott has got, both these drivers have got nothing to lose at this point. They may as well just have a bit of a good race to finish off the season. And I'm sure that this is going to be a very, very good race. Indeed, moving forward. The gap is just under 0.4 of a second. Is it going to come down any more? I'm sure that we are going to see that come down. Bit of a toe there you saw, but it wasn't too much. Down to they're both absolutely pinpoint perfect going through turn 8 and turn 9. Gap has come down a little bit more, another 10th. So this is going to be a battle to watch moving forward 100%. Looking a bit further down the field, so I'm just trying to see, looking at where the positions are. We've got Ed Sibbald and Matt Luff. Oh, Sutton's actually just got past Threlfall. You can see that on the timing tower. It's close there between Hughes and Ormerod as well. So Ormerod is really wanting this position. He's caught up really quite quickly to Hughes. But look at the battle as well. Do you know what? I think, to be fair, this could be with Ed Sibbald, the pace that he had in the last race, there could be another P5 for him. But at the moment, if these guys keep battling, you watch that 3.9 seconds, that is going to absolutely disappear. Is it going to be Ormerod up the inside of Hughes? And he makes the move into P3. So Hughes held him off as long as he could. While up at the front, Ryan Elliott still cannot pull away that 10-second gap and that 10-second luxury that he had that he had almost halfway through race 1 is definitely not the case for race 2.
No, definitely not. Dan Zelos is definitely keeping his pressure on here. But I tell you what, Finley Lines holding his own in 5th place here. A great result so far. Harry Ormerod passing Mark Hughes for 3rd place. I must point out, it was only about 20 minutes before the race started, I was actually team viewing Harry Omerod's PC to try and get his triple screens back up and running. So that tells you how late in the day it was for Harry to actually get behind the car and trying to get things working. And fair play, he's found himself up on the podium here. So whatever I did, maybe it's worked.
Well, yeah, exactly. You need to do that more often. You can be having everyone messaging you nowadays for the next championships that are going on. But yeah, Finley Lyons doing it. Again, a really, really good drive. P5 at this moment, and he is holding off Mick Sutton, who is sorry, that's Matt Luff. Apologies, who is actually under pressure a little bit from Ed Sibbald at the moment. The gap is about half a second apiece between Lyons, Luff, and Sibbald. So almost even Stevens as they go through into Ed Sibbald a little bit wide. They're going through Brundle, compromised on the. If you go through wide through Brundle, you compromise it massively going through into turn 9 at Nelson. Again, a little bit further down as well, so Sutton and the Threlfall, that's still a battle that I'm sure we're going to watch develop further up the field. And I'm just trying to look at the gap. So Ormerod has actually pulled up already 1.6 seconds on Hughes. So that gap is, I wonder actually, 3.5 seconds. The gap is coming down between Hughes and Lyons. It was 3.9 seconds, I believe. So, I mean, 8 minutes and 16 seconds left to go. That 3.5 seconds is a big, big margin to pull down. But I mean, it is coming down nevertheless. So I wonder if we're going to see this potentially come up. Look at that Ed Sibbald. You can see in the rearview mirror of Matt Luff. He's already having to go defensive into turn 2. What can Ed Sibbald do here? Is he going to try and get a cutback going through into turn 3? I think he tries to do it, but Matt Luff just parks it on the apex and pretty much stops. Cannot allow, he doesn't allow Ed Sibbald to get by, but he's going to try him at the outside. Again, going really quite wide. Late apex it as much as he can, but that's compromised him going through into turn 4. Is there going to be a lastminute.com lunge? No, because Matt Luff has already covered the inside into turn 4. So Ed Sibbald is going to make him go the long way round. Is there going to be another cutback? I think the amount of cutbacks that Ed is going to try and do, he's going to have no tyres left at this point because he's utilising them and he's putting his tyres through a hell of a lot going through here. Darts left, darts right. Still can't quite find the way past, but I just can't keep up with how much the action is going on. And it's just, look, another try. Oh, another bit of a cutback there. I think again, just Mitch judged where he was going to go up the inside. I mean, to be fair, he does get the move, but that was a bit of argy-barginess. But Matt Luff, I'm sure, is going to try and come back immediately.
Yeah, without doubt, Matt Luff here. You know, it was a little bump and run that. Matt Luff's going to already have the outside line here. I reckon Matt's going to hand this round the outside, try and get Sibbald into the left-hander here and brave it out for the right-hander. Well, we see, oh no, Matt Luff going a bit too wide there to try and get the right-hander from Sibbald there. But actually, great run. That's never going to work, that Matt up the inside of there. Dear me. Dan, they're going to end up driving off the track, these lot.
I mean, they both did near enough. Ed Sibbald, yeah, he just actually got, he just went ever so slightly wide. It looks to me, if you go through turn 9, he goes slightly wide, it just absolutely throws the car over what the AstroTurf grass, and it just absolutely sends you. So, yeah, he very quickly realised that he had to cut, and he had to cut into and defend going through bomb hole, because otherwise Matt Luff would have just sent out the inside because he had the run and he didn't have the pace there. But this has just allowed Finley Lyons to just disappear into the distance now. Again, 1.9 seconds. So, I mean, that gap, is that going to come down? It's a fair old margin. It's a fair old margin to come down.
If these drivers stop battling, Matt Luff and Sibbald stop battling, yes, that gap probably will come down there. But as we've seen, I noticed there before, Matt Luff, I tell you what, as far as defensive driving goes, that was some top-notch defensive driving there. You know, slightly overstopping on apexes, backing the driver up. That's the sort of thing where when you're trying to get past someone, it's so frustrating. But there's nothing wrong with it. Matt Luff, top defending work that was.
Absolutely. No, really, really good stuff. No, great on there for both of these guys. But look at that at the front. So we've got, again, the battle, Elliot and Zelos. Still no changes, though. It still is quite close. But Dan Zelos is just, whether he's biding his time or just, you know, he's sitting there, he's just trying to work out. It's one of the things you've got to be careful of. Like when you're trying to overtake someone that's of such a close pace to you, and obviously we can see the gaps are pretty much nip and tuck, and they have been for the last 10 minutes, near enough. You've really got to plan your overtakes, and sometimes you've got to plan those, and Dave, you'll agree with me on this, you've got to almost plan them laps in advance, because you've got to first understand where you're faster, where you're slower, where can a position be made. There's so much anatomy to an overtake, especially when someone is of your same pace as well. It just makes it all the more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably what we're going to see here is Dan's not going to do anything stupid. You know, he's a driver that he'll do them things where he just jinks a little bit right to make the driver in front think that's where he's going. But he doesn't have any intention of doing an overtake there. He's just trying to get in the head of the driver in front. As we'll look at Sybil here on Finley lines, Matt Luff isn't too far back here. So if these have any sort of battle, Matt Luff, you watch him pounce.
Well, let's be fair, he's already there, isn't he? So Sybil's going to have to defend. This is a role reversal of what we saw a couple of laps ago. So it's now... Oh, no! Oh, that was Luff. He just braked just ever so slightly too late. Luckily, though, he was the only one. I say luckily, obviously, luckily for Finley Lines. But that was very, very close indeed. Is Finley Lines going to cut the inside? He's going to try to into turn 3, but can't quite make the move stick. So I think that was unfortunately with Luff. He just misjudged his braking point. And just, I said, luckily he did hit Finley Lines, but not enough to actually cause any damage to Finley Lines. He lost one position. That was a bit unfortunate, but at the same time, no real sort of damage done. And Matt Luff was unfortunately the one who lost out on that. But yeah, bit of it's amazing, isn't it? Now again, these drivers, they're absolutely on the limit of what these cars can do. That a small little mistake, because that probably wasn't a lot that he outbraked himself by. Maybe half a car length. I'd probably say maybe a little bit more than that, but.
Yeah,
it goes to say the margins are quite small.
It was the smallest little bit of outbraking, but for all I don't like to see drivers spin out. Unfortunately, at least it was his own doing. It's different when a driver spins another driver out, but when you see a driver spin out because it's what they did, it's not as bad. But yeah, we see here Finley. He held on to 5th for so long there, and I'm sure that was probably him really determined to try and hang on to that. But to be fair, to only drop one position, he needs to make sure Mick Sutton's not going to close that gap as well. We're trying to battle too hard. So fair play to Finley, he's managed to hold on to 6th place. But I tell you what, here's Dan Zelos still in that half a second bracket. That toe's still going to be really helping pull him onto the back of Ryan. I guarantee, not that we're seeing any shots of it yet, but I bet Dan Zelos is flashing his lights, and that might have been what happened there. He's going to have a little nibble at Ryan Elliot, going into the left-hander. Dan, this is going to get interesting.
It's definitely going to get interesting, isn't it? Look at that. So Zelos, I mean, to be fair, if Ryan Elliot didn't know he was there, he definitely knows that he's there now. With that little bit of contact there, Elliot's going to go on the defensive. It's going to make Zelos go around the outside and make him go the lower end. Bit of contact there again. Ryan Elliot manages to keep it all in check. But yeah, this is where the touring car started driving now, because you know what's going to happen through here. Again, going through Hamilton. Is there going to be some contact? Yes, there is going to be some contact. Why would I even question the thought there was going to be some contact there going through into Hamilton? Absolutely there is. But Dan Zelos now comes out on top. But Ryan Elliott's going to get the cutback going through into turn 7. He's going to get a better run. It seemed to be a little bit compromised, was Dan Zelos coming out of Oggy's turn number 6. But he seems to have managed to got his composure back, managed to find some grip. And the gap is now pretty much a role reversal. And Dan Zelos is now half a second ahead, or 4/10 ahead of Ryan Elliott, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go. May not have been the position of where Dan wanted to make that move, but that small little mistake from Ryan Elliott, and Dan Zelos pounced and he's away. But we have got 2 more laps to go. That's the important thing. If so going through. So there's plus 1 lap after this. They're going to finish this lap. Time is going to count down, probably coming through turn 8 or turn 9, and they're going to have 1 more lap after that, and that could be the key to Ryan Elliott getting back past Dan Zelos on the very final lap.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, race 1, we saw the outright pace that these boys had. We know Dan hadn't had that much time in the car, so I don't know whether he's been sat behind Ryan learning what works in this car, and actually it looks like Dan's found some real pace, and he's actually starting to gap Ryan here. But then that's also not to say we'll ask him in the interviews after. They've come through that pack from the reverse 12. That's not to say both these drivers don't have a little bit of damage sustained from that. And that might be what's bringing them lap times down a little bit. But I tell you what, that was a great little battle, even though it probably only lasted maybe half a second of wheel to wheel. But that's not to say job might not be done yet. Ryan might just be saving his tyres for a last push. But I tell you what, Dan, that's been some good driving, that has.
It has indeed. This round has been absolutely fantastic. It's been absolutely incredible. I think you're right, though. If the gap is opening up, it's 6, just over. Well, it's going to be about 7/10 of a second if Dan Zelos can get a good run coming out of turn 7. Williams onto the Bentley straight. Actually, it's moved up. So Ron Elliott, it's almost the second now. I wonder potentially it's just Elliott is just like conceding. He's taken second place. Maybe he has lunched his tyres. He just needs to make sure that he just brings the car home. Like I said, provisionally, what we think of, he's already got the championship anyway. So Dan Zelos is going to I'm sure Dan Zelos isn't going to back down at all. He's going to be driving flat out till the very end, which has only got one more lap plus 2 corners left to go before the race 2 is over. Again, as we look further down the field, though, so it's a bit spread out a little bit, actually, to be fair as well. Actually, the closest one battle, I was actually just going to say this. We've got, this is Matt Luff, so trying to work his way back through after that unfortunate incident with Finney Lines in turn 2. So he's battling with Threlful.
Yeah, I don't know what actually happened there, Dan, but it popped up on my screen there. They had a crash with the environment at 62 mile an hour. So I don't know where that's happened, whether it's been an inside tyre wall or an inside stack somewhere. But I did notice he's dropped a good 4 seconds now off the back of Mick Sutton when he was actually right at the back of him. So I don't know what's happened there, but that's a big hit. So I would imagine there's some serious damage to that car at the moment. Harry's got a real chance here of getting past.
Well, to be fair, he's not too far away as he's already about to... It looks like he's going to make the move even before he comes to the start-finish line. Let alone going into turn 1. They're going to be side by side. You've got picture-in-picture. Down at the bottom right corner of the screen is Dan Zelos. Going through into turn 4, that's Agostini. But meanwhile, what's going to happen here? Who's going to be the person out top? They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Oh my goodness, fair play. And I think that's actually going to be Threlfall's going to want to try and get the cut back. Matt Luff has to go on the defensive because otherwise he's going to lose a position to Threlfall. He's going to drop down the order. But look at that. That is going to be Threlfall. He's trying to go on the outside into turn 2. That's a very brave move at the best of times. Let alone when you're when a move like that is going to be happening. Wow, this is... You can see the drivers as well. There's so a little bit of two-wheel action there, touring car style. What we like to see from Threlfall as well. But again, Matt Luff going on the defensive, going into Agostini. Actually, I thought he was... It looked like he was almost left the door open a bit there for Threlfall. But I think you can tell in that car, he's using up a lot of his tyres. He's got 1 lap left, and to be fair, there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't. He's got 1 more lap. You can tell in the cars, just the way it's looking and the way it's going, he's got one. He's really utilising and using up all of his tyres. But in the bottom right corner of your screen, that is Dan Zelos going through Coram for the very last time. Once more, going through Murray's, and that is going to be, look at that, Dan Zelos is going to take the race 2 victory for the Milltek Sport Civic Cup. The final round at Snetterton, and again a great performance from both Zelos and Elliot. But look at that, great stuff indeed from Dan Zelos. A really good and strong race finish after that battle with Elliot. Harry Ormerod is just stormed away. The gap is 1.8 seconds as well between himself and 4.2 seconds between himself and Hughes. So Ormerod in 3rd, Hughes in 4th, Ed another P5 for Ed Sibbald. But what is going to happen here? Actually, it's Threlfall. Threlfall has actually got through, so Luff has made a mistake going through. That was going into Coram. But what's going to happen here? I think Threlfall, he may have used up too much of his tyres. Oh, no, that was just... Do you know what? I don't know what happened there. We just caught the edge of that. I wonder if potentially... Well, I mean, I don't know. Lines could have crossed a little bit there. Oh, so we've just been told as well, no contact.
Wow, so I think, yeah, that was maybe, Harry running a little bit wide there, getting his back wheels on the gravel, turned him round, and I don't really know whether Matt Luff had really that much place left to go with the closing speed coming out that left-hander. But wow, I thought race 1 had some action, and we saw a move in race 2, that 3 abreast going into turn 1, another move that I just can't quite get my head around how that played out, and all 3 drivers drove out of it.
I mean, you can't argue with it, can you? You can't argue with it at all. That was some really mega racing, and yeah, I literally cannot argue with that at all. That was absolutely fantastic to watch. And credit, like you said, we've seen these drivers really develop as well and get to know each other. That's the best thing as well, isn't it, Dave? Like, we've got to know, we've got to know each, we've got to know the drivers on the grid, and the drivers have got to know each other as well, so they know that how much they can push and where they can push and everything. And we've seen that develop throughout the series, which is, again, has been absolutely fantastic. But I do believe we do have the top 3 for race 2 in the control. So Dave, I will leave it to you to have a chat with these guys, and it's interesting to see what these guys have to say.
Yeah, I mean, we go down to the interview booth and we go straight to our P3 finisher. What a fantastic race, Harry Ormerod.
Thanks, Dave. It was a bit challenging at the start, but it was good to calm down near the end.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the start of that race, we didn't obviously see every little bit of action that went on, but you seem to manage to pick your way through the grid there, and especially for the P4, you came up and you were really battling quite hard, and you seem to have quite a lot of good mid-race pace.
Dave. I think the key for this race was the first race I found I burnt my tyres out really quick and really struggled at the latter part of the race. So this time I kept my cool and patience and just looked after the tyres that bit longer.
Yeah, well, I was also saying to Dan during the comms that also you had a bit of a tech issue just before the race, and I was actually on your computer trying to set up your triple screens ready for the race. So, fair play for just jumping straight in, obviously with a different view, a bit of a different feeling in the car, and still, pulling out the podium tonight. Fair play, Harry.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the help, Dave. I wasn't sure if I was racing, to be honest, so it was just a pleasure to get on the grid.
Well, congratulations, Harry, and it's a shame that we've lost you in other races in the season due to your internet connection, but it's really nice to see that you've managed to get that fixed up, and congratulations on your P3.
Again, Dave.
And we'll move on to our P2 finisher, Ryan Elliot this time. Dan just came back and to be fair, had a little bit of a nibble, but blinking heck, he had some pace at the end of that race, didn't he, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely. I knew Dan would stick with me throughout, and I just couldn't shake him with the slipstream, and then the one opportunity he got close, he just sort of made it. And at this point, Dan had been complaining about his lag, and I saw him moving about, and I thought, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to bother.
Well, it looked very interesting on the stream, and it was a nice little battle, to be fair, because obviously you pulled such a gap in race one. It was nice to actually see, you two actually trying to battle a bit on track for speed as well. So congratulations in race two, and huge congratulations for provisionally wrapping up the whole title for the Civic Championship, and hope to see you back in the next One Mate Cup that starts 2 weeks today, I believe.
Yep, definitely be back for that one. Just massive thank you though, especially Dan Senna Proctor pushing me the entire way. Mad for Mini Motorsport as always, my sponsor, and VRRC for putting it all on, as well as Civic Cup.
Well, cheers for that, Ryan, and see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
And we jumped our P1 finisher. I'm sure you're fairly happy about that, Dan. P2 in a bit of no man's land in race one, but tell you what, you went in no man's land in race two.
No, I mean, Ryan fairly won the championship, so well done to him, but I had to end that championship on a high, and did exactly that. I mean, I did have some tech issues. I'm struggling a bit with my broadband at the moment, so I was worried my overtakes won't look as clean as I felt like they did. I really enjoyed that race. It was a good battle with Ryan, so I'm really glad to have got him just at the end there and seed on a high. And yeah, it's always nice to beat the champ just at the last, just so he knows I'm not going anywhere.
Well, I haven't asked you this question, but I take we might possibly see you back on the grid in 2 weeks' time to this date for the next instalment, if you like, of the One Mate Cup that VRRC's running. Obviously, it'd be a pleasure to have you on the grid. I'm putting you a bit on the spot here, but will we see you?
Well, I want to make sure my broadband's sorted, so I've definitely got the best connection I can for these championships, and I don't want to affect anybody else's race, and I lagged out on the touring car one at the weekend, but as long as I can get that sorted, which I'm hoping to at the weekend, I'm sure you will see me on that grid. I can't get away. VRRC is just too good.
Well, it's great sportsmanship to hear that as well, Dan, thinking of the other drivers and not just your own races. So fair play, Dan. Good luck with what you've got planned in real life as well, and huge congratulations on taking P1 in race 2 this afternoon.
Very much.
And there we go, Dan. Civic Cup all wrapped up. Wow, that delivered some serious action.
It did indeed. That's definitely the best way to put it. It absolutely did. No, it was great fun to watch. Absolutely fantastic. And there we go. There is your overall standing. So yeah, Ryan Elliott is taken provisionally. I said very much provisionally the championship, and then further down the field you got all 20 people on that grid. But yeah, I mean, next One Mate Cup, that's going to be exciting. If it's anything to go by with what this one was like, I mean, wow.
Yeah, I mean, a little insight. The Civic Cup has been absolutely fantastic, and huge thanks to the Civic Cup for, giving us the permission and, letting us run essentially the virtual version of it. It obviously provides absolutely fantastic racing in real life, and, things are starting to lift in the whole world regarding the COVID and regulations. So, at the first chance that comes to a track near me, I tell you what, you'll see me there, Dan, because I can't wait to get back to seeing some real racing as well.
I tell you what, and I'm going to be there right with you. I'm going to be absolutely 100% there. No, it was amazing fun, and yeah, just a big thank you for as always having me on to commentate. Everything. It's been absolutely fantastic. But unfortunately, we do have to wrap it up. It's been a fantastic championship. It's been a fantastic season, and I'm excited incredibly for what is going on in the next installment. This is happening tomorrow. Dave, we've got the Spa-Francorchamps Endurance with GT4s, and that's going to be good fun. That's really going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to that. And all being well, I will be joining everyone on the console potentially.
Yeah, I mean, the practice servers have been fairly full. It's a big grid tomorrow. I mean, first place prize £50, second 13, third place 15, and plenty of drivers who yet again want a little bit of that money in the bank account. So that's going to be mega. And also we see 2 weeks today, Monday the 5th, at Croft, just down the road from me. I was there only Wednesday gone. Luckily, BMW Cup. It's not actually that exact car. We've changed to the 235i. Just a car that's quite leery in comparison to the Civic. A car that you get sideways, gets a little bit of a drift on. But I think action-wise, Dan, I think it's going to be equally as good. Can it really get any better? I don't want to say that.
Well, I don't know. To be fair, not too long until we find out. But yeah, 5th of April, look at that. Croft, Thruxton, Snetterton, and Alton Park. And then we've also got League of Champions 2. Look at that. The League of Champions 2 is kicking off. That is 6 different disciplines of car for everyone in the League of Champions 2.
Look what's first, Dan. Look what's first. Ginetta GT4 Super Cup.
Oh, good old Ginetta GT4s. Oh, I did love the Ginettas. I mean, so we've got Porsches, GT4. Oh, that's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that either. That's going to be lovely. That's going to be amazing. That is really going to be amazing. But and to be fair, we're going to have to, unfortunately, we are going to have to wait for all of that to come, and we are going to have to wrap it up. But it's been fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for following this championship, for following this season. My name is Dan Handover, and joining me in the commentary box has been Dave Marshall, with Mike Yao also on broadcast before providing us with some amazing racing to keep us occupied. So fair play to Mike for keeping up with all the action. But until next time, or until tomorrow, I should say. Meanwhile, we will see you then. But until then, take care, as everyone, as always, and stay safe.
The inside of coats.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Woo!